So, hello there everyone and welcome, it is Niren here, and today it is time for me to bring you a brand new video, and this is one I'm very excited about as well. It's taken quite a while to put together, but I hope you guys will go on to enjoy it. Now, one big thing, apart from the many game modes and various features that are missing from career mode that is talked about quite a lot, is licensing. We've talked about it quite a lot on this channel already, the likes of teams and leagues that don't feature on the game that probably deserve to be on the game. Now, one actual competition that doesn't feature is the fully licensed Champions League, and of course the Europa League as well, can't forget about that. They are replaced by the Champions Cup, and I think it's the Europa Cup or whatever, I don't know what, I actually can't remember what it's called on the actual game. Now, what would be phenomenal is to have those actually fully licensed on FIFA, but there's obviously one thing that stands in the way of that, and that is the fact that PES have the licensing. Konami have the official licensing to the Champions League and the Europa League, and hence FIFA cannot grab access to it. So we're going to be talking about today what would happen if the Champions League was on the next FIFA, taking a look at maybe some of the features that would be in the game mode and what it would look like design wise, and maybe just giving some ideas to EA, because apparently I've heard rumours on the street that basically Konami's licensing ends in 2020, so we could be looking at a situation that you see in this video very soon if FIFA get their act together and decide to act upon getting the fully licensed Champions League and Europa League onto FIFA. Now, if you go on to enjoy this concept video, if you like, then make sure to slap a like on the video and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Really helps me out, so it's that big red button under the video. In this one, as I mentioned, we're going to be looking at a menu layout and talking about other things that should be in the game if you're going to have the Champions League on FIFA. Let's get the big one out of the way and take a look at the concept menu that I would love to see on the game. Now, it's something that I'm not going to lie, I would obviously like to see it developed upon slightly, because I'd just slapped this together in a couple of hours, but I feel like this would be quite nice. Obviously the colour scheme goes with the general colour scheme of the Champions League, but I don't really want to talk about the design too much. The layout is generally the same as the current sort of career mode menu that you would see on FIFA 18. The only real difference is that the colour scheme is different, and the background is obviously one to match the Champions League or whatever. As you can see there, the first thing I guess on the left hand side is the play match and sim match option, pretty much the same as you would see on a current FIFA really, just the difference is the colour scheme. Above that you can see Europe, squad, transfers, office and season. Now, what that means basically is in this concept is that in the same way that when you're an international manager, the sort of the HUD changes slightly, or you get that little transition, in the same way that when you're approaching a midweek game, I know we've got, for some reason on this concept it's on a Saturday, forget about that, it would obviously be in midweek. When you arrive at a midweek feature in a Champions League, it would obviously change to this HUD, you get a little transition, and then bang, you've got this in the background instead of the normal FIFA 19 in this instance menu. Now, talking about some of the features that I would like to see on a menu like this, and I guess the new ones really we'll leave for a second, but you can see there tables as well with the official Champions League logo. Liverpool are in a group supposedly with Barca, Leipzig and Maribor. Obviously Maribor aren't on the game, sorry, because they're in the Slovenian league, I believe. That would be another enhancement EA would probably have to make, is to bring in some more leagues or at least licensed clubs in the rest of the world section to fill out the Champions League, because the likes of Maribor, Apoel Nicosia and a couple of others from like the Serbian league or Croatian league, Dinamo Zagreb are another example, aren't on the game, so they'd have to be in the rest of the world section in order to compete in the Champions League. So you can see that there. Obviously there'll be a little toggle menu to go across to the top scorers, the top assist makers, and also the fixtures, I assume, as well, so not just the table, as you can see there, Group C. In terms of the new stuff though, we're going to jump straight onto that, and you can see the news section is still there. Breaking news, Champions League semi-draw, you could watch that. That would be great. So it's not really to do with the news section, the news section would stay the same, but actually being able to watch the draw in some sort of like, I don't know, virtual reality, I guess it would end up being, would actually be really cool, or at least seeing it, I don't know, seeing the balls come out of the, because I used to play a game called, I think it was Championship Manager on PS2. Now, bearing in mind this game came out in 2001, you could actually watch a draw happen on a TV, on a TV channel. I think it was Eurosport actually. I think they had Eurosport officially licensed. That would be great in a modern FIFA as well, actually being able to see the draw, I feel. I mean, it wouldn't, you know, it's not revolutionary, but it would be quite a nice little added touch, because we've seen cutscenes added to career mode quite a lot recently with the whole transfer system, and obviously on the journey there's an absolute shed load of them. It'd be nice to have a couple more here and there. You don't necessarily have to watch the draw if you're not interested, but it gives you something else to do, and a little added bonus, I guess, on top of the Champions League experience. That's pretty much the most trivial one. On the left-hand side, you can see team selection there. And that, as you can see by the description there, it would allow you to control either the main team in the UEFA Champions League or your under-19 side in the UEFA Youth League. Now, youth squads and youth teams is something I've been begging for on FIFA Career Mode for absolute eons, seemingly, and it just doesn't seem to happen. It just never seems to be on the radar of EA, because obviously it is something in real life. You have your B team, your under-21s, your reserve team, whatever you want to call them. They exist and they have separate management and they have separate games that you could attend or whatever, but seemingly that just isn't the case in EA's mind. And obviously there is a UEFA Youth League as well, if you were competing in the Champions League and your youth side had also progressed into the Champions League group stages, then it would be great to track their progress as well, see how your promising youngsters are doing on the European stage against some of the other best promising youngsters in Europe, and maybe even scout some of the players that you're up against, that you can buy them for your main team. So you could toggle between those two options. You could either set the squad for your main game or the equivalent or adjacent youth squad game as well. I assume they run at similar times. I'm pretty sure back in the group stage days, the UEFA Youth League would have the same fixtures as the actual main Champions League. It would just be obviously the under-21s or under-19s, sorry, instead. So it'd be nice to have that option as well, and therefore you could manage your main team and also your youth team in the fully licensed UEFA Champions League and Europa League, of course, too. And the final thing, really, as you can see down at the bottom right, is competition history. Once again, linking with something that I would just like to see generally on FIFA is some sort of record system, because at the moment, really, it's just year to year. You don't get to see how teams have done in the history of the save, or how players have done in the history of the save. It would be nice to have like a little Hall of Fame almost, to see who the top goal scorer is in the Champions League competition, who won it last year, who won it 10 seasons ago. All that sort of stuff would also be quite nice to have just added there on the side as well. So you can have a little sort of separate HUD, if you like. You could click on that, and then as if it is with the Youth Academy, where you click on Youth Academy and then suddenly a whole new HUD sort of is brought up. So that would be quite nice to see, and just get a taste of the records and accolades they're held by players in that competition. Just another nice added touch, and something really to fill out an entire menu on a Champions League campaign, because it's going to be quite difficult, I imagine, so you've got to add these little features. Obviously, on top of that, the game itself and the gameplay would have to be licensed, so you could see you'd actually get the real Champions League there instead of just some sort of phony Champions Cup thing that you get instead. And obviously, when the teams come out, you would get the official graphics when it comes to the Champions League teams that you see on TV in real life. Or if EA were feeling very lazy, they could at least just stick the Champions League logo in the middle, whatever, but it would obviously be nice to have the official Champions League graphics, if you like, so you get more of a vibe that you're actually playing a Champions League game. And if they could enhance the atmosphere as well for stadiums on European nights during the gameplay, that would be great, because naturally Champions League and European nights are a hive of activity, even more in comparison to a usual game. You know, you saw the atmosphere between Liverpool and Manchester City, for example, was heightened because it was a European night. Seeing that in terms of gameplay would be really cool as well, because I feel like it's pretty much just the same these days. So that pretty much, I guess, brings to a close what I would love to see on FIFA 19 if the Champions League was fully licensed. We may not see it for this game, in fact it's relatively unlikely, but as I mentioned, there are rumours that partnership between Konami and the Champions League would end, and if EA could obviously nab that off them, I think that would pretty much kill PES off realistically. So there's a lot of incentive there for EA to try and ascertain that license off them, but I imagine it costs a hell of a lot of money. But those are the things that I would like to see, the menu layout I would like to see, and the added features that I would like to see on the UEFA Champions League if it was in the game. Let me know down in the comment section what you would like to see on FIFA as well, just generally speaking, or in terms of seeing the actual Champions League on the game. And in terms of the Europa League as well, I could always make a separate little layout or concept design for the Europa League as well. But let me know what features you would like to see. If you enjoyed the video, slap a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and also you can follow me on social media these days too. My Twitter handle is @theofficialfng, links are down below, and my Instagram is exactly the same. But apart from that, it has been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a great day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.